Chosen one. The final test is over. You have walked the path, unaware of the eyes that have watched from the shadows. The threads of fate have twisted and turned, leading you to this moment. The culmination of countless cycles, infinite echoes, and the weight of unseen hands guiding your every step. You did not stumble upon this by chance. You were meant to be here. The silent architects of destiny have waited, measuring your resolve, testing your will. And now, it is finished. The final test is over. The universe listens in ways most cannot comprehend. Every word, every thought, every breath sends ripples through the unseen layers of existence. As you watch this video, know that you are part of something greater. Let your presence be known. Write your warmest wishes in the comments, accompanied by the sacred number 77. This number is not random. It vibrates with unseen energy, a symbol of completion and new beginnings. By leaving your mark, you align yourself with forces beyond imagination, shaping the fabric of what is yet to come. The gates have opened. The choice is yours. Now, hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and let's dive in. You may feel it already. The shift, the silent hum in the air, the weight in your chest that tells you something has changed. That feeling is not deception. It is recognition. Your soul remembers. You have been here before, in lifetimes forgotten, in dreams that slipped through your fingers like water upon waking. And yet, the signs remained. The whispers at the edge of hearing, the flickers in the corner of your vision, the sense that you were being prepared for something beyond words. The test was never about knowledge. It was never about power. It was about awareness, seeing beyond the veil, understanding that reality is not as solid as they would have you believe. Most remain asleep, trapped in a cycle of illusion. But you have stirred. You have glimpsed the fractures in the mirror, the hidden mechanisms behind the curtain. And now that you have seen, you cannot unsee. There were obstacles. There were moments of doubt. Forces moved against you, seeking to pull you back into the haze. They whispered that none of this mattered, that you should surrender, that the weight of existence was too much to bear. And yet, here you stand. You did not yield. That is why you are here. That is why the test is over. But endings are never truly endings. The door that has closed is but a threshold to something new. You feel it, don't you? The question lingering at the edge of your thoughts. What happens next? The watchers have not disappeared. They remain, observing from a distance, waiting to see if you will take the next step. This was never about passing or failing. It was about readiness. And now that the test is complete, a new question arises. Are you prepared for what comes after? The answers are not given. They must be discovered. There are messages hidden in plain sight, waiting for those who know how to see. Patterns that repeat, numbers that appear at the precise moment, signals buried in the noise. Those who dismiss them are blind by choice. Those who recognize them are few, but they are awakening. There are things they do not want you to know, histories rewritten, truths buried beneath centuries of deception. The final test was not just for you, it was for all who are willing to open their eyes. You were never alone in this. There are others, scattered across the world, unaware of each other's existence, yet bound by the same thread. Some have already taken the next step, others hesitate at the threshold, but all are being called. The test is over. The choice remains. What happens next will not be shown. It will be revealed. You were never meant to remember. The echoes of the past were veiled in layers upon layers, sealed behind walls of forgetfulness. Yet, something within you resisted. The fractures in the illusion widened, and through them, you glimpsed the truth, fragmented, fleeting, but undeniable. The final test was never about proving your worth. It was about seeing if you could awaken, despite the forces that sought to keep you blind. And now, the veil is thinner than it has ever been. They are aware that you are watching. The unseen architects, the silent observers. They have waited eons for this moment, orchestrating, manipulating, ensuring that only the few who are truly ready would make it this far. But readiness is not enough. Understanding must follow. Do you see the patterns now? The symbols that have followed you? The number that appeared before you even knew its meaning? 77. Not a number, but a key, a sequence, a marker in time. The final test was not given. It was lived. Every decision, every struggle, every inexplicable event that led you here was part of something greater. There were no accidents. You were guided, but the guides were never what you imagined. Some have walked this path before, only to disappear without a trace. Their voices were silenced, their knowledge buried. They left behind only whispers, clues scattered like breadcrumbs for those who came after. But you are different. You have seen the signs, and you have not turned away. That is why you are here. But what comes next is not written. There are no instructions, no roadmaps, no guiding hands to steer you forward. The Watchers have done their part. The test is over. The rest is up to you. There is something you were never told about this world, something that lingers just beyond the edge of perception, always present, but never acknowledged. You feel it, don't you? The sensation that reality itself is paper thin, that something presses against it from the other side. A presence, a force, a knowledge too vast to be contained in words. You are not supposed to ask these questions. You are not supposed to seek beyond the boundaries set for you. Yet, here you are. The consequences of this moment ripple outward in ways you cannot yet understand. Every choice you make from here on is no longer just yours. The eyes that watch from beyond have shifted their gaze, waiting to see what you will do. There will be those who try to dissuade you. They will tell you that none of this is real, that you are imagining patterns where none exist. They will use words like coincidence, delusion, fantasy. Do not listen. They are asleep. They speak from behind the veil, their minds tethered to a script they do not even realize they are following. But you are awake. This was never meant to be easy. Knowledge is a burden. Awareness comes with a price. But the path ahead is yours to choose. Step forward, and the world will begin to shift in ways you cannot yet comprehend. You have crossed the threshold. There is no turning back now. The final test was only a doorway, a passage from one state of being to another. But those who reach this point soon realize that ending the test was never the end. It was the beginning of something far more intricate, something vast and unfathomable. The Watchers have shifted. Their attention lingers. They do not speak in words, nor do they reveal themselves in ways the unawakened could perceive. Instead, they move in symbols, in synchronicities, in the silent hum beneath reality's surface. You have felt them before, even if you did not recognize them for what they were. That strange déjà vu, the numbers that repeat, the flicker in the periphery of your vision. You have noticed them, haven't you? The puzzle was always there, waiting to be assembled. But most dismiss the pieces, their minds bound by the illusion of normalcy. That illusion is now shattered for you, and once shattered, it cannot be reconstructed. The final test was designed to strip away the last remnants of doubt, to see if you would persist despite the resistance, despite the signs being subtle, hidden in places most would never think to look. You are one of the few who did look. That is why you are here. But what is this place? You may think you are still in the same world, walking the same streets, breathing the same air. But you are not. The world you knew is a shell, a reflection of something deeper. The moment you realized the test was over, you stepped into that deeper layer, a place between the real and the unreal, a space where meaning shifts, where the unseen mechanisms of existence reveal themselves only to those willing to see. The others remain oblivious. They move through their days unaware, locked in patterns dictated by forces they do not recognize. The system ensures they do not ask questions. It rewards compliance and punishes curiosity. But you refused to comply. That is why you are being watched. Not all who watch are allies. Not all who guide wish to see you rise. There are those who have built this maze, who designed the test not to lead you forward, but to keep you trapped within its endless corridors. They do not fear the asleep. They fear the awakened. They fear what happens when enough of you see through the illusion. The signs have always been there. They are hidden in language, in symbols, in structures so ancient they predate memory itself. The greatest trick ever played was convincing the world that the cage does not exist. But you see the bars now, don't you? This is why they resist. This is why they fear you. The test was never about proving yourself to them. It was about proving something to yourself. That you could find your way through the labyrinth. That you could decipher the patterns left behind by those who came before. That you could wake up without losing yourself in the process. Many do not make it this far. Some turn back, overwhelmed by what they begin to uncover. Others lose themselves in the maze, mistaking fragments of the truth for the whole. And some are taken, swallowed by forces that work to keep this knowledge buried. But you have persisted. That is why you are still here. That is why the Watchers still observe, waiting to see what you will do next. You may not fully understand what has happened yet. That is expected. Some truths take time to settle, but the shift has already begun. The world will not look the same anymore. You will notice things you never noticed before. Patterns will emerge where once there was only chaos. The hidden language of reality will begin to reveal itself in ways you never thought possible. You have gone too far to turn back now. The air has changed. The world itself feels different, not because it has shifted, but because you have. The illusion is weakening. The patterns are no longer subtle, no longer fleeting glimpses at the edge of perception. They are everywhere, woven into the very fabric of what you once called reality. But there is something they never told you, something hidden beneath all the distractions, all the falsehoods designed to keep you asleep. You are never truly alone in this. The Watchers remain silent, unmoving, observing. But they are not the only ones who have noticed your presence. The deeper you go, the more eyes begin to turn toward you. Some familiar, some unknown, and some that do not belong to this world at all. Not all of them are benevolent. You must understand this now. Awakening is not the end of the struggle. It is the beginning of a war. And war is never waged in the open. It is fought in shadows, in whispers, in movements so small they seem insignificant until it is too late. You have crossed the boundary between the seen and the unseen. That is why you are being watched. They knew you would arrive at this moment. It was always a possibility, though not a certainty. Many before you have stepped to this edge, only to be pulled back by fear, by doubt, by the comforting lie that all of this is nothing more than imagination. But you have not turned away, and that makes you dangerous. They do not fear those who remain in ignorance. They do not fear those who dismiss the signs. They fear you, the one who saw beyond the surface and kept going, the one who looked behind the curtain and did not close their eyes. But there is something else you must understand. You are being tested still. The final test may be over, but there is always another layer beneath the one you have uncovered. The deeper you go, the more the world begins to resist you. The patterns become harder to decipher. The signs become distorted. Even your own thoughts may turn against you, whispering that you have gone too far, that none of this was ever real. Do not listen. This is their defense mechanism. They know that the truth cannot be erased, only buried beneath layers of confusion. They know that the only way to stop you is to make you stop yourself, and so they will weave doubt into your mind, implanting thoughts that do not belong to you, redirecting your attention toward meaningless distractions, pulling you away from the path before you realize what has happened. It has already begun. You have felt it, haven't you? The sudden weariness, the moments of hesitation, the creeping thought that perhaps you should leave this behind and return to the comfort of the world you once knew. This is their doing. You must resist, because if you do not, they will win. The test is over, but the real game has just begun. And now, the question is no longer whether you will wake up. It is whether you will stay awake. You have come too far. You know this now. The pieces are no longer scattered fragments, but patterns aligning into something undeniable. And yet, the more you understand, the more you feel the weight of it all pressing down on you. You were not meant to reach this point. Most never do. They fall away, drawn back into the dream, lulled into complacency by forces they cannot even perceive. But you are different. You resisted. You endured. And now, the watchers are no longer simply observing. They are waiting. For what? For you to make the next move. The test is over, but the game is not finished. You were never just a participant. You were a piece on the board until the moment you became something more, something unpredictable, something they could no longer control. That is why you feel it now. The shift, the presence that was once distant, now pressing closer. The world is no longer indifferent to your existence. It reacts to you. It bends in ways it never did before. This is not a coincidence. It is the result of something you have unlocked, something that has been buried in your very being since the beginning. You are beginning to remember, aren't you? Not in words, not in thoughts, but in something deeper, a knowing beyond language, a certainty beyond logic. The truth was never hidden from you. It was placed in front of you, disguised as ordinary, masked as meaningless. They counted on you, never looking too closely. But you did. And now, they do not know what to do with you. There are forces at work here that have existed long before you took your first breath. They have shaped the world, molded its structures, dictated what could and could not be known. They do not work in the open. They do not announce their presence. But they see you. They have always seen you. And now, for the first time, you see them too. That is what they fear most. Not your knowledge, not your defiance, but your awareness. Because awareness is the one thing they cannot fight. It is the one thing they cannot predict. And so, the real challenge begins now. They will attempt to pull you back, to erase what you have uncovered. But you are past the point of no return. The illusion has cracked. And through those cracks, something else is seeping in. Something vast, something ancient, something that has waited for you to reach this moment. Do you feel it? The hum beneath your skin, the whisper in the spaces between sound, the shift in the air that tells you you are no longer walking the same path as before. This is not the end. This is where the real journey begins, and from this point forward, nothing will ever be the same again. There is no turning back now. The air is heavier. The silence is no longer empty. The world feels stretched, as if something unseen has taken notice of your awareness. You have walked this far, and yet you are still breathing, still thinking, still questioning. This alone makes you a threat. They do not fear those who sleep, nor those who wake only to fall back into the dream. They fear you, the one who does not forget, the one who does not turn away. And so the final revelation is upon you. You were told the test was over. That much is true. But the test was never about passing or failing. It was about seeing if you were ready. Ready for what? The real truth. The one that was hidden beneath layers upon layers, not to deceive, but to protect. You were not kept in the dark because they feared your knowledge. You were kept in the dark because you were not meant to know until you could survive knowing. Do you feel it? That weight in your chest, that pressure at the edge of your mind, that hum in the space between your thoughts. It is not fear, it is recognition. Because a part of you has always known this. You were never just another soul wandering aimlessly through existence. You were never just another mind caught in the endless loops of distraction. You were marked from the beginning, not chosen by them, chosen by something older than them. This is what they do not want you to realize. This is why they tried to stop you before you reach this point. Because once you know, you cannot be controlled in the same way. You cannot be bound by the same illusions. You begin to see the gaps, the spaces between the lines, the hidden mechanisms that were always there, but never acknowledged. And now, you understand. The watchers were never just watching. They were waiting, measuring, deciding. And you have crossed the threshold. What comes next is no longer dictated by them. It is dictated by you. There are no more instructions, no more tests, no more limits. You are standing at the precipice of something vast, something ancient, something that has been calling to you since the moment you took your first breath. You can feel it now, can't you? The presence beyond the veil. The weight of something immense pressing against the thin fabric of what you once called reality. This is not the end. This is the beginning. The true game has not yet begun. But when it does, you will not be watching. You will be playing. Is the moment of truth, the moment when you are faced with the choice. You've seen the signs. You've felt the subtle tug at the edges of your perception. The whispers that come in the quiet moments. The flashes of awareness that fade before you can grasp them fully. But now, the veil is lifting. The world is changing. And you are being asked to make a decision. Do you step through, or do you turn away? Turning away would be easy. There are many who would encourage you to do just that. The comfort of the known, the safety of ignorance, the illusion of peace that comes from simply ignoring what is hidden. But that is not who you are. You have already shown that. And so, you are faced with a deeper truth now. The illusion cannot hold you any longer. There is no going back to the way things were. No more living in the shadows of what you once believed. The truth you've uncovered is too vast to be contained. It stretches beyond the confines of what you thought was possible, and it is only growing. Do you feel it? The pull? It is calling you. not to escape, but to embrace. Embrace the unknown. Embrace the fragments of knowledge you've uncovered. Embrace the weight of what it means to know. You cannot unsee the truth, but more importantly, you cannot deny it. There is a strange power in this knowing, a power that pulses just beneath the surface of everything, a power that can be used, but only by those who are willing to step into the darkness, to take the leap into the unknown, and trust that the path will be revealed step by step. This is the heart of the final test, not just seeing the world for what it truly is, but choosing to act on that knowledge. You may feel fear, you may feel doubt. The deeper you go, the more the world around you will shift, the more the fabric of reality will twist and warp as you begin to see how much more there is. But that is the price of awakening. The question is no longer whether you are awake. It is whether you are ready. Are you ready to step into the unknown, to face the darkness and make it your ally, to unravel the very fabric of this existence and see it for what it truly is? Or will you choose to return to the comfort of the dream? The choice is yours. But remember, there is no going back. Once you step through, there is no more room for doubt, no more room for hesitation. You will become a part of something far larger, far more complex than anything you can possibly imagine. But if you are ready to carry this knowledge, to wield it with purpose and clarity, then you will be ready for what lies ahead. And so, you step forward. There was no final moment of choice. There was no dramatic shift in the fabric of existence. You've crossed the threshold, but you did not step blindly into the unknown. You've always known, deep down, that the world you thought you knew was an illusion. You've always had the answers within you, even when you couldn't understand them. The difference now is that you can see clearly. You have learned to navigate the space between what is and what could be. You've learned that reality is not fixed. It is a fluid, ever-shifting landscape where the boundaries are determined by those who understand how to wield the unseen forces that shape it. And now, you are among those who understand. The rules you once followed no longer bind you. They never truly did. Not for you. You have learned to bend them, shape them, use them. The things that once seemed impossible are now just steps on the path to the next revelation. But there is more to this than power. More to this than knowledge. It is about purpose. Purpose, as you now see, is not a simple thing. It is not a destination. It is a force that moves through you, guiding you, pushing you to something greater. The more you see, the more you understand, the more you realize that you are part of something vast, something that transcends time, space, and the confines of this world. This reality is just one piece of a much larger puzzle, one that stretches across planes of existence. You are not alone in this. The Watchers are not the only ones who see. The others see you too. They have always been there. They have always been watching. But now, they are not just observing you. They are waiting. You have felt the presence of others, those who stand at the edge of the veil, just beyond your reach. Some are guides, others are foes, and still others are something different. You are part of a greater plan, a force that moves through reality, through the heart of existence itself. And while you have the power to shape, to bend, to create, there is always the question of why. What is your purpose in all of this? Why did you see the cracks in the illusion when others couldn't? Why were you chosen to walk this path and bear this knowledge? These questions echo in the silence, and their answers are not simple. They cannot be grasped with the mind alone, but they can be felt. What you have discovered is only the beginning of a deeper journey, a journey into the core of existence itself, a journey that will take you beyond the illusion, beyond the veil, into realms where the rules of this world no longer apply. And yet the most profound truth remains. You have already made the choice. Every step you've taken, every decision you've made, has led you to this moment. And now the only thing that remains is the unfolding of your path. There are no guarantees, no clear map, no roadmap to follow. There is only the next step, one that will lead you into uncharted territory. But you will not be alone. The watchers are there, the guides are there, the forces of the unseen are always present. And you are becoming something new, something more. You are beginning to understand. And as you continue to walk this path, you will realize that what you thought you knew was only the beginning. The true journey is just starting, and it will take you to places your mind cannot yet comprehend. You have already made the choice. The game continues. As you continue down this path, you may find that the world around you begins to shift in subtle ways. Things that once seemed distant, out of reach, now seem to move closer, as though the veil between you and the deeper truth has thinned even further. The lines between what is real and what is imagined, between what is possible and what is impossible, become increasingly blurred. This is not an accident. The universe, or rather, the forces that govern it, are responding to you now. You are no longer an observer. You are a participant, an active force in the unfolding of reality. But as with all power, there is a weight that accompanies it, a burden perhaps, or a responsibility. This power is not something to be wielded lightly. It is a tool that can shape worlds, but can also unmake them. This is a delicate balance, one that requires awareness, control, and intent, because with every shift, every subtle change, the stakes grow higher. You may begin to sense things more keenly, the unseen forces that flow through the world, the movements of energies that were once imperceptible to you. These energies were always present, but you were blind to them until now. Now you can feel them, hear them, see them as they ripple through the fabric of existence. Do you feel the pull, the current that is moving you forward? It is the current of the true will, the force that pushes everything forward, guiding the universe toward its purpose. It is a force that transcends time, and it has recognized you. It has chosen you. But there is more to this journey than simply following the current. There is a question that lingers in the back of your mind. What will you do with this power? That is the question you must now answer. You have been given the gift of perception, the ability to see through the veil and grasp the true workings of the world. You have the power to reshape reality, but you must be mindful of how you wield it. This is no simple game. This is the ultimate test, not of your knowledge, not of your strength, but of your wisdom. Wisdom is not just knowing what to do with power. It is knowing when to hold back. The more you understand, the more you will see the delicate balance that must be maintained. You will begin to realize that every action has a ripple effect, every change a consequence. The universe is interconnected, and no single being can act without influencing the whole. It is a responsibility that weighs heavily, but it is also a privilege. You are no longer bound by the rules that govern the ignorant. You have crossed the threshold, and with that comes the knowledge of your place in this vast, cosmic dance. You have a role to play, and it is a role that only you can fulfill. But as you walk this path, you must constantly ask yourself, what is the greater good? The universe is vast and chaotic, filled with forces beyond comprehension. But there is order within that chaos. There is a purpose to everything. The question now is whether you will align yourself with that purpose, or whether you will forge your own path, guided by your own will. But be wary, because once you begin to act in alignment with your own desires, the universe will respond, and the consequences of your choices may not always be what you expect. You must find balance. In the coming days, you will feel the weight of your decisions. You will begin to realize that with great power comes not only great potential, but great danger. The universe is not a playground. It is a living, breathing entity, and it will challenge you. But you are ready. You have already faced the test. Now, you face the journey itself. And this is where it truly begins. And now, the real question arises. What is the true nature of this journey? Is it to conquer, to control, to understand, or is it something more, something beyond what the mind can fathom, beyond the grasp of logic and reason? The truth, as you will come to see, is not so simple. It is not a single destination or a singular goal. It is a process, a constant unfolding of potential. You have stepped beyond the limits of ordinary existence, but there are others who have tread this path before you. Others who sought to understand, to control, to rise above the world they knew. Some of them succeeded, some of them failed, and some of them disappeared into the void. But your journey is not theirs. You are not bound to repeat their mistakes. You have the gift of awareness, of a clarity that they lacked. You understand that the universe is not a static thing, but a living, breathing force that responds to your presence, your intentions, and your choices. Every action you take sends ripples through reality. Every decision you make creates or destroys something in the fabric of existence. And with each ripple, you become more connected to the very essence of the universe itself. But that connection comes with its own cost. The deeper you go, the more you will realize that this power is not a tool you can wield without consequences. The more you influence the world, the more it influences you in return. You are part of the flow of creation, and creation is a force that cannot be controlled or contained. There are those who believe that knowledge is the ultimate power, that understanding the secrets of the universe grants them dominion over it. But true knowledge is not about control. It is about acceptance, acceptance of the chaos, acceptance of the unknown, acceptance of the mysteries that lie beyond comprehension. The more you resist, the more the universe will push back. The more you fight against the flow, the more it will drag you under. But if you learn to move with it, to bend with the current rather than against it, you will discover the true strength that lies within you. It is not about imposing your will upon the world. It is about finding harmony within it. And this harmony is not always peaceful. Sometimes it is disruptive. Sometimes it is violent. But always it is necessary. The universe is not a static thing. It is an ever-shifting, ever-evolving process. It is a dance of creation and destruction, a cycle that must continue if balance is to be maintained. Every life, every decision, every event plays a part in that cycle. And now, you are part of it. The question is not whether you are ready. It is whether you will embrace your place in it. Will you accept the chaos that comes with true power? Will you accept the responsibility of knowing that your choices affect not only your world, but the greater whole? You will feel the weight of these choices as you continue on your journey. The deeper you go, the more the universe will test you. It will challenge your resolve, your intentions, your ability to maintain balance, and it will reveal to you truths that are uncomfortable, even terrifying. But it is in facing these truths that you will come to understand what it truly means to walk this path. You will discover that the journey itself is the destination, that the growth, the transformation, and the evolution of the self is the ultimate purpose of all things. There is no end to the path. There is only continuation. And as you continue, remember this: you are not alone. You are part of a greater whole, a greater tapestry of existence. Every step you take, every choice you make, is interconnected with the choices and actions of countless others. The universe is vast, but it is not without meaning. Everything has purpose. And now it is your turn to define yours.